There are 4 very common ingredients that shorten your life and kill you prematurely. When I was in practice for 30 years, I really tried to get people to change their ways. I tried to get them to eat healthier, but eating healthy is expensive. And I would talk to people until they're blue in the face and not get anywhere. And I stumbled on this when I was going to people's homes, and then we would go to the grocery store and we would, teach them what to eat. And I personally had an aha moment. An average person does not recognize the 4 ingredients in 99.999% of all junk foods. The whole label on foods is just completely confusing, and no one can make any sense out of it. You're never going to understand what the food is unless you understand the ingredients in the food. It would be very similar to looking at a label in a different language, right? I mean, it just does not communicate because every single word in there is just foreign to you. Now, I just want to read off some of these ingredients. Hydroxypropyl distarch phosphate, intrasterified soybean oil, hydrolyzed corn oil, maltodextrin, dextrose, dextrin. So just ignore those words right now because you literally fall asleep if I keep talking about it. I mean, could you imagine if I started talking about, the cyclopentanopropan hydrophenanthrenes that we're about to discuss? I mean, I'm just going to literally make you unconscious. These words are chemical names for junk food ingredients, and I really think they're purposely put in there just to hide what's really in there. So the junk food industry is camouflaging their ingredients, number 1. Number 2, these companies have normalized junk foods as part of a regular diet. And number 3, these companies spend millions of dollars to downplay the bad effects of their ingredients, to neutralize these ingredients. There is no bad food group, right? I mean, that is completely created by big food. As long as you're eating a balanced diet, you'll be fine. What they have done very successfully is made their ingredients the same level as other ingredients. Like a calorie from the fructose in high fructose corn syrup is the same calories as fructose in fruit. They're identical. This is absolutely, positively, 1,000% not true. Well, I'll tell you right now, there's a huge difference between the starch in vegetables and the synthetic starch they get from corn. There's also a big difference between cane sugar and then synthetic sugar like glucose syrup. Now, the other thing you need to know is that you cannot determine the quality of the food by looking at this part of the label right here called the nutritional facts. You have to read this part right here, which is really hard to read unless you have magnifying glasses. I can't even read this right here. I wonder if that's on purpose or not. So there's a super simple way to identify these 4 ingredients that are in 99.99% of all junk food. The first one is sugar, and I'm not even talking about sugar cane. I'm talking about the synthetic sugars. And there's a lot of different chemical names for sugar, okay? Then you have starches. What's a starch? Starch is a sugar, okay? And I'm not talking about the starches in vegetables. I'm talking about the synthetically made, highly processed starches. Then we have seed oils, very, very highly processed. And then number 4, we have highly processed, refined proteins, soy protein isolates, and you have casein in different forms. That's like milk protein. And by the way, there's a significant amount of casein coming from China. It's not really regulated. You have no idea how these cows are treated before they get the milk from them. And so many people have allergies to casein, and you have also a type of protein that creates more inflammation called A1 beta casein. You don't want that in your body. You want the A2, and I'll guarantee all the casein protein that they use in junk foods is A1. So a lot of people get bloating when they have this concentrated casein protein. Not to mention the soy protein isolates have heavy amounts of hexane, which is a solvent. It's in gasoline, and there's really no regulation or monitoring how much of that hexane is in that product. And then you also have wheat gluten. I created a little card cutout. You download it, you cut it out, and you put it in your wallet, and then you match it up with this card, and that way I list all the different chemical names, and that way you don't have to memorize any of the names. So out of all the things that you can change to make your health better, This is the most important. So click the link down below to download the little card so you can cut it out and put it in your wallet immediately. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat burning triggers and blockers and fat burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.